Now, as some of you guys know, I made a video of me explaining one of the most overrated Eurovision songs in my opinion, but now this time we are doing the exact opposite. In this video I'll finally talk about one of the most underrated or unappreciated Eurovision songs based on my opinion, whether it's based on the placement of the juries, the televote, or even what the Eurovision fans think, because to me there are some Eurovision songs that I do find heavily unappreciated by Eurovision fans, and I think some of you guys might know which one of those songs are in this video, but we'll get to them when we get to them. Also, before we get right into this video, I just want to remind you all that I'm probably going to split this video into two parts, because there are so many underrated songs for me to talk about, and I just don't think I can leave them all on one video. Okay, enough wasting time, let's get right into it. First up we have Albania from 2015. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because not only it's one of the best songs from 2015, but in my opinion it's also my favorite song from Albania, which is why I think that this song deserves better, since it deserved more points at least from the juries and at least deserve a higher result at the grand final, maybe even in the top 10. But even though El Hader was sick, she was able to pull off her vocals really well, which is why I still have a soft spot for this song. Next up we have Andorra from 2007. Now, out of all of the songs Andorra has sent to Eurovision, this one in my opinion is the only song that deserved to qualify to the final, and if only Andorra ever got to qualify to the final, if it wasn't taking part in that strong semi-final from that year. In fact, maybe Andorra would have actually qualified to the final if 2007 had two semi-finals instead. Same goes to other years like 2004. 2005 and 2006, since this is a perfect reason as to why those years should have gotten two semi-finals instead of one. Next we have Armenia from 2023, another song that should have finished in the top 10. Like, the fact that this song didn't even finish in the top 10 is just an absolute crime, since not only this song is one of the best songs from last year, but also one of the best songs from Armenia, because of how powerful the song is, and with rapping involved, and also the Armenian language part, which is why this song deserved to finish somewhere in the top 10 100%. Also, my respect go to the Georgian and French televote for giving the song 12 points. Now, these next two songs I'm going to talk about from this particular country, it's going to be a lot for me to talk about, but the next two songs are from Australia in 2022 and 2023. So let's start with 2022, and my reasoning for including this song is because of how unappreciated this song is, not just to the Eurovision fandom, but also to the televoters, because of how Sheldon got only 2 points from the televote, which is the same level as 0 points, and it just makes me sick to watch every time, mainly because you people don't know what the song is about. The song is about Sheldon struggling with Asperger's syndrome as a child, while also hiding his sexuality from his deeply religious family, and as someone who has struggled with autism and also have a lot of issues, I can relate to this song. But what also makes me sick is, despite the message behind the song, there are some people out there who doesn't see any good in Sheldon and his song and just talk shit about it because of how disrespectful they are. Like, how fucking dare you people insult Sheldon and his song for the amount of disrespect you have with him. Like, come on, you guys are so cruel. How can you people not appreciate such art as this, you ungrateful brats? You people wouldn't know true art when I see it with my own two eyes. All because you people wanted either Jagger Jones or Voyager more than Sheldon instead, which probably doesn't really matter since Voyager already got their chance to go to Eurovision with a song that is way better than the one they were going to send to Turin. And the worst part about it is that none of you people don't seem to care or even admit of how disrespectful you people are because of how cruel you people are. And sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who appreciates Sheldon's song as much as everyone else does. But whenever I think of too much negativity, I'll always look back at the comments from people who do actually respect Sheldon and his song, just to remind me that there is hope for humanity compared to some people who are once again being disrespectful as they are. So I got one thing to say to you people who don't respect Sheldon and his song. Shame on you. So for me to finally prove my point about Sheldon is that he didn't deserve those 2 points from the televote. He deserves more than that, and he also deserves much better appreciation than he already has, which is why to me his song is one of the best songs of 2022. So raw and powerful, which is why this song deserved to finish at least somewhere in the top 10. And to everyone who disagree with that statement, keep that to yourself for now on. Now we can talk about Voyager. Now, as you guys already know, I already ranted about people not liking Voyager's song, while also making a meme out of it. Honestly, I should have done the same thing with Sheldon, so I'll try not to rant too much about it. But in all seriousness, just like Sheldon, Voyager's song Promise has also been unappreciated by the Eurovision fandom. And for what reason exactly? Like, you people complained about Sheldon being chosen over Voyager, and now you people are complaining about Voyager being chosen for Eurovision in Liverpool? Like, seriously, sometimes I can't understand you Eurovision fans, since as soon as you want something at Eurovision, you just immediately don't want it anymore.
Why did you ask for it?
And like I said before, you people don't know true music when I see it. And if you think with a song like this wouldn't be able to qualify to the final, because it would be an absolute crime if Voyager didn't qualify last year, which would be a bigger robbery as a rare only not qualifying. Plus Voyager not qualifying would just be like Courage or not qualifying. And not only you people don't appreciate Voyager's song was bad enough, but of course I can't forget to mention the fact that Voyager received only 21 points from the televote despite winning the second semi-final, which being televote only. Because seriously, how the fuck did that even happen? Like, if I were to rig the voting, I would've made the televote to at least give Voyager a more reasonable amount of points than 21 points, and at least give Voyager a higher result at the grand final than 9th place, the same way as I would've done for Sheldon. But just like Sheldon, whenever I think of too much of the negativity, I'll always try to look back at the people who appreciates Voyager in the jury's votes, just to once again remind me that there is hope for humanity compared to the people who once again treating the song like garbage. Also, my respects go to the Portuguese and Icelandic juries for the 12 points, because that was well deserved, especially from Iceland.
Atari's like the slowest stripper in the world, isn't he?
And just like Sheldon, Voyager deserved to finish in the top 10 at the final, or even better, top 5, and they also deserve more points from the televote, since to me, it's not one of the worst songs from last year. It's one of the best songs and way better than all of the other songs from last year. Well, almost all of them, and in my opinion, this is a type of music that we deserve to have more of at Eurovision, because we deserve more songs which are just as good as this. And if you agree with everything I said about Voyager,
I love you.
Next we have Austria in 1977. Now, I don't really look back at the Eurovision years in the 50s, 60s and 70s as much as I do for the other decades like the 80s, 90s, 2000s, etc. But this song from Austria I do find quite underrated, especially with the result of 17th place with only 11 points, which seems very low in my opinion. I mean, this entry is catchy and entertaining to watch and has a really nice charm to it, which is why it should have gotten the higher result than 17th place. And you wanna know which other song from Austria deserve a much better result?
Who the hell is Edgar?
Yes, but I'll get to that song in a bit. But another song from Austria that deserve a better result is 1991. And I think it's obvious as to why exactly. Mainly because the song hasn't even received not even a single point from any of the juries. And for what reason though? I mean, the song is not even all that bad, and to be fair, I've heard songs that are worse than this, especially from 1991. But the fact that not a single jury give the song any points just seems way too harsh. I mean, sure, Thomas's song is not that good as his other song from 1989, but still. And you know what? I don't care what anyone says, but this doesn't deserve 0 points. It deserves more than that. Next we have 2011. And there's not really much for me to talk about this song other than how stunning the performance is and how underrated this song is overall and to the televote. But hey, at least the juries know what's up, and while I think it's one of the best songs from 2011, but it's at least better than Azerbaijan's song, which is why this song should have at least finished somewhere in the top 10. Same goes for 2023, which we'll now talk about because, well, it's quite obvious of course with the result the song has gotten from the televote apart from the not good staging. But seriously though, 16 points? What the hell, Europe? This song deserves a lot more than that, and hell, once again at least the juries know what I'm talking about. And my respects go to the Belgian jury for giving Austria their 12 points. But other than that, if only Austria performed in a different position in the running order instead of performing first, because Austria would have gotten a much higher result to the televote if they performed in a different position in the running order. But hey, the EBU learned their mistake a year later when they let the song We Will Rave perform last in the running order. But unfortunately, despite the running order result, it wasn't enough to give Austria a much better result than what happened a year before, as they only got 5 points from the televote. What the hell, Europe? Why do you hate Austria so much? They deserve a lot more points than that. In fact, they deserve a much higher result than 24th place because of how much of a bop this song is. Now, there are plenty of songs from Belgium that I do find them underrated or unappreciated. So I'll start off with 1987. Now, once again, there's not too much for me to talk about for this song in particular, other than, as I already mentioned, that this song should have finished in the top 10 or maybe even in the top 5, as I do find this song better than a lot of the other songs from 1987. But not all of the songs, because of how catchy and strong this song is. And then we have 2004, another song that deserves a much higher result than the actual result it's gotten, since this song is one of the only good songs in the most weakest Eurovision year ever, and 22nd place is just very low, since there are plenty of songs that sound way better than this one. But even though it's not one of the best songs from 2004, but still. And then we have 2006, now just like with Andorra from 2007. This song is a perfectly good reason as to why the 2004 to 2007 era should have had 2 semi-finals instead of just one, since the fact that this masterpiece didn't even make it to the final is an absolute crime, since this song deserved at least a spot in the final, and it at least deserved to be in top 10 at the final. Which I've been mentioning way too many times, I know. And then we have 2023. Now, you guys might be confused as to why I'm mentioning this song. And yes, I know Gustav's song isn't that underrated, and while some of you guys may say the song is overrated, but the main reason why I'm mentioning this is the same reason as to why I mentioned Sheldon and Voyager in this video, mainly because of how overhated this song was to the Eurovision fandom, especially after when Gustav was chosen to represent Belgium in Liverpool. And for what reason exactly? All because you wanted these songs more. Well, just because you wanted these songs more, and just because that Gustav won the Belgian selection, it doesn't mean you people can just overreact by saying that this song wouldn't qualify. Now, I know people are going to disagree with me on this, and I already said this before on another video, but I'm just going to say it again. I don't think both of these songs would do better than Gustav's song, because if Belgium did choose either one of these 2 songs, I feel like either one of them would likely flop to the juries or the televote. And just because you think Belgium choosing Gustav's song instead of these 2 songs, you think they would not qualify to the final? Well, boy, he sure did prove the haters wrong. And even though as much as I find Gustav's song overrated, but I'm happy he got the justice that he deserved. Same goes to Voyager because of, well, as you guys already know. So say what you want about Gustav, but just so you guys know, Belgium made the right decision to choose Gustav. And finally, we have 2024, another masterpiece that should have qualified to the final. Since goddamn did the televoters did Musty Eye so dirty, because 13th place at the second semi-final? WTF Europe. Now, I don't want to hear anything about Musty Eye vocals and his performance, but would you people even look at me in the eye and say that you think he deserved a non-qualification?
No.
Exactly. You can't. The same reason as you people should not say that Sheldon really deserved the 2 points from the televote, or even say that Voyager deserved a non-qualification as well, to my face. And honestly, if only the semi-finals for this year and last year had juries voting as well instead of it just being televote only, because this song would have qualified overall if the semi-finals did have juries voting as well. Same goes for Malta, which I'll talk about in part 2, of course. Next we have Croatia in 2021. Now, I think it might be safe to say that a lot of us can agree with how this song should have qualified to the final, and how the chances of Croatia qualifying being killed by maths of the points that Croatia had received from the juries and televoters in total. And while it may not be one of the best songs from Croatia to me, but still a really good and one of the most well performed songs that should have qualified to the final. Now there are also plenty of songs from Cyprus that I do find underrated, and one of those songs are from 1986, and I think a lot of us agree that this song didn't deserve last place. While even though Elpida didn't like her own song, but I still think it didn't deserve last place, since in my opinion there are a few other songs from 1986 that I do find worse than Cyprus. And then we have both 1992 and 1994, both entries which are sung by the same singer Evridiki, who I would say is a very unappreciated artist, since both of her songs from those years should at least finish somewhere in the top 10. And yes, I know I have been saying that a lot of times lately, but still, since these two songs should at least finish somewhere in the top 10, no matter how good and how strong those songs are.
What about 2007?
Not really. I mean, her song from 2007 isn't really all that bad, but still. Although her non-qualification is another reason why 2007 should have had 2 semi-finals. But you wanna know which other song from Cyprus that should have finished in the top 10? 2012. Because seriously, how is it that this bop didn't finish in the top 10? Since this song is catchy, and also one of the best songs from 2012, and at least Sweden gave Cyprus their 12 points and Greece too. Even though we are all getting tired of Greece and Cyprus giving each other the highest points every year, but to me that's probably needed. Next we have Zechia in 2016, and the reason for this is quite obvious, mainly because of how this song got 0 points from the televote, because of the death position they are in at the running order, and they didn't deserve that. I mean, as soon as Zechia finally got their comeback just by qualifying to the final for the first time after 4 previous attempts, and this is how Europe can offer to them, Zechia did not deserve to get 0 points, they deserve at least some points from the televote. And then we have 2022, another Czech entry that deserved better to the televote because of how they only got 5 points from the televote, all because they performed first in the running order, and they didn't deserve that. They deserve more points from the televote than they already gotten. And as I said with Austria for last year, if Zechia performed in a different position in the running order, then maybe they would have gotten more points from the televote. Maybe they should have performed last, like they did in the second semi-final. Next we have Denmark in 1993, another entry that's so unappreciated by the juries, especially when it comes to Tommy Sebach, who's also one of the most unappreciated artists as well compared to how he did in 1979 and 1981. He had gotten a result even worse than the last 2 results he gotten from those years, as he finished in 22nd place with only 9 points from the juries with a song that was clearly meant to be a lullaby that Tommy had written to his daughter, and that is just so cruel of the juries, since he didn't deserve that. Hashtag juries suck. And if that wasn't bad enough, but after the result Tommy had, which caused Denmark to be regulated from the 1994 contest, people have been blaming Tommy for the result he gotten, and that just makes me sad to learn about, because he didn't deserve that. Like, if you want to blame anyone, blame the juries, since not only they did Tommy dirty, but they also did other artists dirty like Kino, Zdoba Zdabanka or Ajor. And while we are on our topic of Tommy Sebach, of course, let us give our moment of silence to honor his memory with us. And then we also have 2002, another song that didn't deserve to finish in last despite on its awkward live performance. Also, I know a lot of people have been saying this song should have finished in the top 10, but I'm just going to say it like this. But as much as I think the song doesn't deserve last place, but I don't think it should have finished in the top 10 either, because I don't think it would ever go that far because of its awkward live performance. Same goes to Cyprus in 1986, both songs that didn't deserve last place, but not top 10 either. Next we have Estonia in 1994, another song that is very underrated by the juries, because only 2 points. Really? This song deserves more than that. Like, what is up with the juries in 1994, honestly? My point is, for Estonia's song is it didn't deserve to finish in 24th place with only 2 points. This song deserves at least higher than that. Maybe top 15 seems more appropriate. And then we have 2017, another song that should have qualified to the final, and yet they would have qualified if the juries didn't treat this song so dirty. And even though it's not one of the best songs from both Koitum and Laura, even the song is at least better than Laura's song from 2005, but still. Now there are plenty of songs from Finland that are indeed underrated in my opinion, so I'll try to be quick as I'm going to mention the songs I find underrated, and one of those songs are both 1977 and 1987, both songs which are underrated bangers from Finland that deserve at least more points from the juries, as 1977 should finish in a higher result than 10th place, maybe top 5 at least, although my respects go to Ireland for awarding the song 12 points. And 1987 deserves to finish in a more reasonable result as well, maybe at least somewhere in the top 10 or maybe a bit higher, perhaps maybe in the top 5. And then we have 2007. Another song that not only deserves a much better placement at the final, but also deserves some better recognition, since to me this is one of the best rock songs that Finland has sent to Eurovision, along with Hard Rock Hallelujah and Dark Side. And then we have 2009. Another song that doesn't deserve to finish in last place, and for what reason to why this deserved to be in last exactly? Since this is a fun and catchy song to me, and out of all of the songs that competed in the grand final, this is the one that finished in last place. What the hell, Europe? And then we have 2017. Another song that should have qualified to the final. While this song may not be one of the best songs from Finland, but it's still one of those songs that deserves at least some recognition, especially for how good and soothing this song is, if you're looking for a song that makes you feel calm. And finally, we have 2023. Now I bet you all saw this one coming, since you all already know that this is the one song that should have won a Eurovision Song Contest period, except you would probably disagree if you're one of these two. In fact, Finland would have won last year if the juries didn't have such a strong bias towards Loreen, which to be fair she deserved to win as well. But Finland at least deserves another victory, even more than Sweden has, since Sweden has already gotten a few victories in recent years. The same reason as Spain deserved to win in the 2022 contest more than Ukraine, since Spain hasn't gotten another victory since 1969. But let's try not to blame Loreen for her victory last year, because once again, if you're looking for anyone to blame, blame the juries. And then we have Georgia from 2023. Another song that should have qualified to the final, even though the lyrics aren't really the best, but the only thing you can at least give credit to is how good Iru's voice is, which could easily bring her to the final despite having some weirdly written lyrics. And don't get me wrong though, at least this song is better than Poland's song Solo, and the fact that Solo has qualified over Georgia just makes you think to yourself, what kind of drugs is Europe on? Even though there are a bunch of Polish people who lives in different countries outside of Poland that like to vote for Poland, which could be one of the reasons why, but that still doesn't change of how much of a crime that Solo somehow qualified over Georgia. Now Germany does have a few songs which are indeed underrated, and one of which being 1975. Another song that is super underrated, like 17th place. Again, what kind of drugs is the jury's on? This is one of the best songs from 1975, and they really have to rank the song this low. This song should have at least finish in the top 3. And you wanna know which other song from Germany that deserves better? 1996. Especially since this is the only time that Germany has ever missed a Eurovision final, and the fact that this song didn't even qualify from the pre-qualifying round is not only a crime, but also the main reason as to why televote is a thing, which wouldn't have existed until a year later. Hashtag juries suck. And then we have 2015. Now even though once again is not one of the best songs from Germany, but 0 points. What the fuck, Europe? Even though Germany only gotten 24 points from the juries, but also only 5 points from the televote, but the fact that they only gotten 0 points despite the jury and the televote result. This is the main reason as to why the EBU had to change the voting rules, so that way the points from both the juries and the televote combined instead of just being a 50 over 50% average result from the two. And then we have 2023, another song that doesn't deserve last place, and also this song didn't deserve to be treated this dirty by the juries. Like, I don't know why the juries hate Germany, but hey, at least this song is better than other songs from Germany, right? That's why this song at least deserves better than last place. And then we have Greece from both 1976 and 2014. For 1976 is another song that deserves to be in the top 5, as well as not only of how beautiful this song is, but it also reflects on the invasion of Cyprus in 1974. As for 2014, which is another song that deserves a higher result for how catchy and fun it is. And that's it. What? Did you think I was going to say anything else other than now Iceland has a few songs which are indeed underrated, and one of those songs is 2007. Another song that should have qualified to the final, and also in my opinion this is way better than the previous two attempts that Erika Hawkson has done in 1986 and 1991 for Norway, and also his non-qualification is another reason why the 2004 to 2007 era should have had 2 semi-finals instead of just one. And then we have 2012, another song that deserves at least a better result at the final, because 20th place just seems way too low for this song, especially for one of the singers Greta Salome, and how she's been treated by both the juries and televote, since this song is one of the best songs from 2012, and that it deserves some better appreciation. And while we are on the topic of Greta, of course we can't forget her second song from 2016. Another masterpiece that should have qualified to the final, and also another song from Greta that has been treated dirty by both the jury and the televote, leaving the song to be placed in 14th place at the first semi-final, which is an absolute crime, when this song should have at least finish at least somewhere in the top 10 or maybe at least a decent result at the final. And then finally we have Israel from both 1977 and 2013. 1977 is once again another song that should have finished in a higher placement, knowing of how beautiful Island's song is, since both of her songs from 1973 and 1977 are just beautiful to listen to. And as for 2013 on the other hand, another masterpiece that should have qualified to the final, which as I already mentioned with a few other songs I talked about in this video, but still, like, this is the true package that could have done well at the final. If it was able to qualify to the final, maybe at least the top 10, well, to the juries probably. I'm not really too sure about the televote because of how they treated this song, which is a crime, but that's just how the televote vote is, just treating ballads dirty. And that's going to be it for this video. While there are plenty of other songs that I would mention in this video, but again that's going to wait until part 2. But while we wait for that, I'll just leave you guys to guess which songs do you think I might mention in part 2, other than Loop, and you guys can also just comment below on which songs do you think is underrated or unappreciated. So, that's all I have to say for now, and I'll see you guys in part 2.